Hi everyone, thanks for checking out my channel. If you're new here, my name's Lauren, or if you know me on Instagram, Lauren Roy Nasty. And today I'm going to be trying to achieve my base look with super inexpensive products from the drugstore. Anything ranging from like $5 to like $15. I'm going to list all the prices on all the products I use below. But yeah, if you want to see how I achieve this look, then just keep on watching. So let's start off with the Pacifica Cherry Matte Primer. I believe this is $13. I'm going to list all the prices below just in case I get any of them wrong. But that's how much I think it is. And I do like this primer. It's not pore filling so much, and it's not you know, it's not that silicone kind of base, it's really liquidy, but it's very moisturizing, but also it dries down quite sticky, and I feel like it does mattify and extend the wear of my makeup, and I like the smell of it, and I like that it's less expensive, and it's also cruelty-free and vegan. Next, I'm just going to color correct a little bit with a very dirty NYX color correcting palette. I just like to do this for my eyes a little bit because, as you can see, I have quite purpley under eyes. And I'm going to go in with the Maybelline Superstay 24-Hour Matte Foundation. It's a little light for me right now, so I'm just going to have to bronze up and use my contour a little heavy. But I really do like this foundation. I think it's great. And I am using a inexpensive sponge as well. This is the sponge from Morphe. Alright, next I'm going to contour. And for contour, when it's drugstore, I really like to use this Wet n Wild Cushion contour. It's a little bit warm and it's a little watery in a kind of weird way, but I actually really like the formula. And it just lays down really nicely. As you can see, it's pretty warm. And then I grab a buffing brush. Actually, since this is, you know, less expensive products, I'm going to use one of the BS small brushes. I usually like to use that small Sephora one, but this brush works just as well. It's a dense kind of packing face brush. And for the Wet n Wild Cushion contour, I really don't like to use a sponge. I feel like it just displaces the product that's underneath everything. Then it ends up looking all kinds of fakaked, and I'm not a fan of that, so we don't need to use that. I think that the Tarte Pro palette, that kind of cream contour, works really well with this sponge. But this drugstore Wet n Wild it looks so much better when you use a brush, not a sponge. Contour, just stamping along the sides. Don't worry if it's not perfect because we're still going to conceal a little bit. I just like to do my contour first because I like to bake right after I conceal. And so I want this to all be laid down before that. I'm going to use the Catrice Camouflage. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, Catrice Liquid Camouflage Concealer in probably the lightest shade. Well, let's go in with that. Guess I'm almost out of this one too. Man, I'm just like out of everything. And I do use the lightest shade in this one because it does oxidize a little bit. You could probably even tell the difference just between my under eye and there. I don't do a crazy concealer on the jawline because I bake anyway. I'm just gonna do it just to, you know, blend it out that way. But let us blend this out. And as you can see, I'm just blending this out with the flat edge, creating that very distinct line. And then I kind of go over and I just buff it out to make it blend a little better, look a little more natural. But I do like that distinct line for the contour. I'd either use the Coty Airspun or I would use the Maybelline Fit Me. I think that this one's a little more expensive. I'm gonna look up all the prices and just list them below. But I think that Coty Airspun is a little less expensive, but if it is, it's probably by a very small amount. And I think that both are great. I've been really liking the Maybelline Fit Me a little more because I see when I'm baking that there's a lot of just moisture actually being kind of wicked from my pores from baking with the Maybelline powder. It's like when you put on one of those charcoal masks from like Boscia, or the L'Oreal one, I think it is. Yeah, the L'Oreal, how they have all those mud ones. And you could see your pores, literally like the mask is sucking out the oil. That's what I feel like this actually does for me. What I basically do for that is I go from the arch of my, or the corner of my mouth, and I kind of go in an arch that way. And then I think it keeps a pretty clean line. Now I would move on to brows. So I am going to go for my all-time favorite brow pencil because it is good on a budget and it just works. It's the NYX Micro Brow Pencil. It's really small, it's great. I think it's comparable to a lot of different brow pencils out there. Other people will not agree with that, but I really do. I think I have very full eyebrows naturally, so it's great for me. I don't know if that means it's great for everyone, but I feel like I get great color placement and it just works out well for me. And now I have brows, so that is great. One day I might, I don't think I'd actually ever do a brow tutorial because honestly, brows are so individualistic. They depend on the person. Like my brows look nothing like anyone else's brows really in the world. And honestly, they don't even look like each other. So, that's just the way brows go. I don't think I'm an expert on them either. I think I do them well, but the fact that I have pretty full brows naturally definitely does help. I think you can look to other people if you want the really done up brows, like Nikki Tutorials, or like even like James Charles, but his natural brows are pretty well grown out, but he still does quite the dramatic brow change. Maybe one day I'll get more into it, but I like natural looking brows, so that's how I like to keep them. So I'm gonna put a little bit of my Fit Me powder onto a brush, and I'm gonna stamp it all over the face and then start sweeping off. That is my method for sweeping off my bake and powdering down the face. I used a lot of powders because I have oily skin, but it doesn't make me stray from cream blushes, cream bronzers, cream contour. Cream contour is honestly one of my favorite products. I don't know how I ever went without it because I used to hate cream contour. I'm going to go into another Wet n Wild product, the Wet n Wild Megaglo Contouring Duo, and I really never use the lightening powder. Sometimes if I feel like, if I'm looking a little, I don't know, like dull, I'll brighten up a little bit, but I don't always feel like it's necessary. And then I go in with a smaller brush, also from Morphe, and I will just go down the bridge of my nose. And I do like to go around the tip of my nose and really define the little button of my nose. I think it's cute. I feel good when I do it, so I'm gonna keep on doing it. And I heavily contour the bottom lip because I have very small lips. I don't do so much on the top because I don't want to look crazy, but I still like to define my upper lip. And I always use butter bronzer from Physicians Formula. high end or low end. It's my favorite. I think it's great. I think when you find a product that works super well for you and it's not super expensive, you should just use it. You don't need high-end fancy things if you have an equivalent that's much less expensive. I also like to kind of blend everything together with bronzer. I think that's always a good idea. Just kind of make sure that everything meshes. And it just gives you a nice overall bronze. But this shade works really well for me, so if you have a skin tone similar to mine with some similar undertones, my face, I'm kind of neutral. My face tends to be a little more pink, but my body is a little more yellow. So I usually try to match to my body because I don't want my face to look super pink while the rest of me, you know, is like yellow. I don't really know why that is. Probably just because I have pretty sensitive face skin, but... So now I always like to use my highlighter before I do my blush because I think it just meshes together better. So I'm going to grab another Morphe brush and I'm going to go into yet another Wet n Wild product. I love Wet n Wild apparently from the drugstore. It is one of my favorite brands and I never even knew it. And I always do very little highlight on the forehead because I sometimes have small breakouts on my forehead and I don't want to exaggerate that texture, but over here I love to glow. Like, look at that. Like, this is from Wet n Wild. It was probably like $2.99. I'll have to look that up, but that's what I'm assuming it was. Okay, Google. How much is the Megaglo highlight from Wet n Wild? Alright, well it's $4.99. I was only $2 off, but still. That is amazing. I should do a bunch of Wet n Wild products because I'd probably end up loving that. Alright, so since I have already used so many Wet n Wild products, I'm not going to use this, but the Color Icon blushes, I actually really like them. This is in Pearlescent Pink, and I think it's just such a pretty, like, very nice, kind of peachy pink. And my favorite from the drugstore is, of course, the L'Oreal Enchanted Paradise one, and they're the scented blushes. Oh, I just touched it to my nose. Okay, I didn't mess up my makeup. It's basically lost its scent by now, but this isn't just Curious, and it's such a pretty color. And this blush is vibrant. Like, I just put a lot on, and you get a lot out of it. But I think it's so pretty. Looks cute to me. And yeah, so I think that's my whole base. So I'm just gonna do a pretty simple look, just finish it up off camera real quick. Let me just like fix this so you can actually see my face. So this is the base right now. I'm just gonna go off camera, finish up this look, and then come back and then show off this glam drugstore look that you can achieve from all inexpensive products. Alright, be right back. So this is the completed look I created using a couple of different things. I used a ColourPop lip liner in the color Oh Snap, and I used a ColourPop lipstick, one of their astrology ones, in the color Boy, and created this nice kind of neutral lip to balance out a really heavy eye look. And so what I used was the BH Cosmetics palette in, what is it? It's the Neutral Eyes 28 color eyeshadow palette from BH Cosmetics. And did that just break on me? Oh wait, yeah, another little screw fell out. But if you wanted to know how they get so much pigment into eyeshadows that I think are around like $15, this whole thing, it's because this is the packaging. This is the great packaging that comes with it. You know, but if you can get good payoff and protect your palettes a little more and maybe don't buy them online, then this is super worth it. But overall, I think everything turned out really well. I think that this is a super glam look for super inexpensive, and it's great to find products at the drugstore that just work really well, getting this illusion of really high-end, really glamorous, like crazy products. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I really enjoyed making it, and thanks for checking it out. Alright, bye!